it's this. My understanding is that people making over about $160,000 don't pay any more than people making less than that. There's that cutoff, and that the proposal is that people making over 250,000 or some other number would start to pay Social Security taxes the way the rest of us do. So there's that hole. And the question I have is, why is there that hole? When I was working, I'm retired now, but when I was working, I never made $160,000. But I made maybe a quarter of that or a little bit more. But why should I have to pay Social Security taxes, but somebody making $170,000 doesn't have to pay it in the same way that I do, or I did?
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, Kathy, I'm with you. I mean, I think part of when it was created, the funding formula allowed for it to fund Social Security at that level, and every year it gets adjusted. And right now, as you said, it's about $160,000. At that point, you don't pay another dime in income. So it's really a regressive tax, which is the opposite of how we look at taxation. Generally, there's a progressivity to it. The more you make, the greater percent you pay. I think because the president said no one would pay more in taxes if they made less than $400,000. That's why some people say at $400,000, then we should implement the increase. I think there's another proposal out there at about $250,000. I personally just think you lift the cap, period, and whatever you make, you pay in that same percentage to Social Security and Medicare. Doing that extends the life of the program at least 75 years into the future. And to me, that would just be kind of a no-brainer. I think also we should look at some things like maybe making the increase tied to the Consumer Price Index -E, which focuses more on spending for seniors. There's some other things, and there's a bill or two out there. John Larson has one from Connecticut, et cetera. But you're right, Kathy. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to have that little gap, other than, I think the president said no one making less than $400,000 would pay another dime in taxes. I think regardless, lift the cap, period. Let's fund Social Security and Medicare. It's one of the most important programs that we offer as a federal government, and let's get it done.
Congressman, we just have 50 seconds here to the break. But what is the status of Social Security and Medicare in Congress? What are the odds that in the next couple of years we'll see anything done to deal with the ongoing privatization of Medicare through the Medicare Advantage scam, or to fully fund Social Security like you just described?
Yeah, with Republicans in charge, I think very little will happen, but I think part of it is the educational process, right? There's the whole separate issue around Medicare Advantage that you and I have had many conversations on the program about. On Social Security, I think it's trying to make the case to be able to lift that cap at some level to make sure we're funding it. My experience in Congress is we do nothing until deadlines. That's not a good thing. It's just the experience that I've had being here. So until we get closer to some kind of a drop dead date, potentially Congress won't act, but it certainly won't with Republicans in charge unless it's to cut funding.